Welcome, everybody, to the Pilot Point Bearcat Insider Podcast. We're going to talk about the Paradise postgame coming to you. Can't say live because we're recording it, but we're coming to you from the Coconut Palace recording studio. I'm Chance Kirby with everybody's favorite assistant, Coach Travis Marsh. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel pretty good.
Scratch the record. I need to get a sound effect there.
No, there's a lot of reasons why I feel good, and mainly it revolves around the fact that I feel like we thoroughly dominated an opponent. We ran on them when we needed to run on them. We threw on them when we needed to throw on them. Defensively, I thought we played really well. It's nice to see the addition of the turnovers, and then you turn turnovers into where it's a point off of Edwin's pick six, which we'll get to later. But that's when you're rocking and rolling. And so, I feel good about it. I feel leaving the field, it felt nice to be like, man, we won one. And we won one missing, roughly 5 starters. So it was nice to come out and perform that way, even though we were going to be missing, some key pieces.
Put 2 halves together, which is what you've been asking
to
happen.
I was very pleased with the effort level of our kids. Of course, if we wanted to sit here and talk in depth, of course we made mistakes and we did things wrong, and there's some things that we really, really need to do better. But for the most part, it was a solid game. And against a difficult offense to prepare for because of the way they use motion and the way they can get the edge on you. And just some of the things they do were not complicated, just effective, and we effectively shut them down. They did have one extremely long pass play, which we'll get to, and that was just a mess up in coverage, and it caused for a guy to be running free down the middle of the field. Well, he wasn't even down the middle of the field deep. He was a free runner underneath, but just the way it worked out is he had a seam and he was fast.
It's an athletic play too.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, number one could fly. If I was in paradise right now, which I kind of am in paradise. I feel like Pilot Point's a little bit of paradise. But if I was in Paradise, Texas...
Sorry. There's a lot of things I'd be thinking about in Paradise, Texas.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that too.
No, the first thing I'd be thinking is, how can I get the ball to number 1 more?
Since we were broadcasting from the bleachers, that is actually some of the Paradise fans were commenting that are pretty vocal about the same question.
Yeah. Well, hey, before we get started on the game, I rarely complain. Okay, I'm pretty easy to get along with, but I was very unhappy with our broadcast situation at Paradise.
Me too. I didn't know. I never have considered Paradise a rival.
No.
I'm starting to think that maybe they consider us a rival because the stunt that they pulled Friday would be something that I would expect from a rival. Yeah. It's like, hey, well, let's do this. Let's tinker. Let's mess with their broadcast team because we're rivals and it's fun.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin. It was such a wild night.
Well, I think the place to begin is let's roll it back to previous weeks. We've never had a problem with a broadcast as far as setting up a broadcast. Now, we've had problems with the actual broadcast, but we've never had problems with having a spot, and things like that. And then our opposing broadcasts have never had a problem in Massey.
Let's rewind before you go forward. We've been to Castleberry, where the city of Fort Worth and Tarrant County have a pretty strict policies regarding press box access, who can go onto the field, a lot of serious COVID restrictions. We went to Prosper, who was cutting teeth on the stadium on how they were going to set up their COVID protocol, and were probably much more strict then than they even are now, trying to learn what's going to work and what's not going to work. Even at that time, they limited the number of press people, period, that could show up to the stadium.
Yeah, no, Prosper, you got two press passes per team, which is unreal, really, when you think of it.
Yeah, and we didn't have any issues.
We try to make sure we reserve one of those press spots for the post signal, of course. But we hadn't had any issues. And like I said, opposing broadcasts that have come to Massey, they have a spot It's reserved. It has a sign on the door actually that says, Bowie Broadcast or wherever.
And that's a standing.
We're never going to have to try to find a place to fit people in.
You don't have to call and make a reservation.
No, we're ready for you. You just have to show up, and we're
hospitable.
Yeah, and I'm always happy to have an opposing team's broadcast.
Well, we owe that especially during COVID. We owe that to that community's fans. There are people that can't make the trip. There are people that, for health reasons, won't make the trip.
Yeah.
So you owe that as a good neighbor and district foe to commit not only to your fans, but to the visiting fans to have the opportunity to see the product on the field.
And more importantly, it's about the kid. It's about the kids that are out there competing on the field and making sure that everybody who loves them has an opportunity to support them and to do what they can. And so, long story short, you tried to get into the press box. They said no. That's where it starts.
This is a podcast, and people can fast forward if they want. I want the story. I don't want to give the Cliff Notes if that's okay with you.
Sure.
So it intertwines. I got there at 5:30. Well, I'm even back up earlier this week. I was warned by a fellow broadcast team in our district that, hey, you guys are going to have problems in Paradise. Which is funny to say in Paradise, but they told me. They said it's not going to be smooth. So I kind of knew that going in, but I thought, you know what? Maybe everything will work out. We sent our engineer there Thursday night during the junior high game, who went in the press box, spoke to the school, asked where we should be. I have a photo that the engineer sent and said this is where they're going to put us.
Yeah.
So now, 5:30 Friday, walk into the press box with the gear. One gentleman sitting there. I said, hey, I'm with the Pilot Point broadcast team. Where do you guys want us? I could tell by the look on his face that things were about to go south quickly. He said, I have no idea, but I'll make a call. And I said, great. I've driven an hour, have to use the bathroom. I'll go find the bathroom. I'll meet you back here. I said, but here's a photo of where we're supposed to be. And he said, well, that's where I'm sitting. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I said, it's just what we were told last night. So when I go to the bathroom, come out of the bathroom, I see green shirts. A lot of activity with green shirts in the stands. And this is at 5:30, and I'm thinking, this is not good. So as I start walking back towards the press box, green shirt number 2, not the guy I spoke to in the press box, he meets me. And he's like, hey, man, I'm sorry, but we didn't know y'all were coming. When do y'all schedule games?
We've scheduled them roughly in February.
Okay. We didn't know y'all were coming, and we just don't have room to you due to COVID restrictions. That was the first excuse provided to me. And I said, okay, not a problem. He said, man, we just don't have room for you. We're sorry. Which the we don't have room for you is going to be a common theme over there. And I said, I understand, and we'll make do. I said, I'll walk around the track here, and I'll try to find an electrical outlet, and we will pivot. If you don't want us in the press box, we will find another place. He said, all right, that's great. So then I text you. I have to bother you at your real job for this, but I said, hey, they're not going to let us in the press box. We have to go somewhere else. So as if this is a movie playing out, cut to you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a little bit of a shock whenever you text me. And so the first thing I did is text you the UIL press release from the beginning of the year that was, special press box restrictions due to COVID. And we'll get back to that again. And then I just said, hey, I'll be right there, because we were on our way down to walk the field and begin special teams anyway. So I was just going to get down there a little earlier than expected. And
you showed up while I was making my lap around the track.
So eventually Green Shirt comes up and, I say, hey, I'm, Coach Marsh, I'm Pilot Point. I'm with the broadcast team. What's the issue with the press box? And, he said, well, we had no idea y'all were coming, and, there's just not room for you up there, and this and that. And, I told him, I said, we've never had issues all year with space in the press box. Said, but I do want to read to you what the UIL says about press box restrictions. And he said, Coach, let me call my superintendent. Well, he calls his superintendent in.
And hold on, as this plays out. As I'm making my laps around the track, it's funny how things start. My phone rings before I even get back to you, and you've spoken to green shirt number 2, and it's our superintendent, Mr. Southard. He's like, what's going on in Paradise? I'm like, whoa, you have no idea. I said they won't. They say they don't have a room in the press box, and that's following after. Before that, they said that we can't go up there for COVID restrictions. We're just trying to find a location for the broadcast. I said I found 2 outlets here near the field. I think we're gonna make it work, no problem. So before he came to talk to us to find out what the situation was, meaning the superintendent at Paradise, he'd already called our superintendent and was working on shutting us down, is what I felt like. So I get back to you. Green shirt number 2 has vanished, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And you're like, well, that guy said he can't help us. Superintendent's on the way.
Well, and, the agreement that I came to with this guy, and I'm not going to make it sound like it was, real positive, was if they can't accommodate us where they're supposed to, then we'll take a table and an extension cord and you can put us on the track and we'll figure it out. And so he was gone looking for a table. And then the superintendent walks up.
Yes, to where maybe he wasn't at the game, because when he got there to have to deal with us, he was already not happy. He was not. He was in a. He was in a negative mood.
The demeanor was not positive.
He was not there to seek resolution. Is I guess the best way to say that. So he walks up, talks to you and I. Same line as green shirt number 2. He's like, we just didn't know y'all were coming. We don't have room for you due to COVID restrictions. You guys just aren't going to be able to do your cast. So then you so kindly said, well, sir, here are the UIL COVID rules on my phone that I believe that we understand that you have to provide us someplace. May I read those to you? You read those to him.
And to take a break, this is what they do say. The host venue should make every attempt to accommodate both the home and visitor team production crews for telecast and webcasts, while following all social distancing recommendations. Press box capacity should include at least 6 feet between individuals when possible, and all individuals are required to wear face coverings. Schools should limit production crews to those individuals essential to the telecast.
It also says in there, if you will look a little further, that and I'm not looking at it, I read it in a earlier, that if there is a home webcast, I believe they are required. They really have to make space. If they're webcasting, then and we want to webcast, they have to give us. It's the last sentence on one of them down there.
No,
do you see it there?
It's not in that
okay.
section that I had. I'm looking at the same screenshot that I showed the guy.
Okay.
He immediately got on the defensive as soon as I read that to him.
Well, the minute you started reading it to him, now mind y'all, it is 6:15 now on Friday night. His response was, I spoke to the UIL before I came over here to talk to you. Now, all of you listening out there, the UIL is it officially part of the state of Texas? I know it's a state agency, but it's part of the TEA. How does that work?
Honestly, it's not a official government office.
Okay.
It's an agency that's involved heavily, but I do not believe there's any government sanction.
Maybe I'm wrong. I'm gonna assume it's run like a government agency though. Like they're probably gonna be closed on Monday. Because of government holiday.
I would assume so, and they probably, I'm sure they work some different hours at different times, but I doubt people are just hanging out.
At 6:15 on Friday?
At 6:15 on Friday.
I look at it like the DMV. Have you ever tried to call the DMV at 1 p.m. on a Tuesday? I don't know who answered the phone at 6:15 on Friday night at the UIL.
Well, and who knows what they were told if they did answer the phone, because they certainly didn't get the whole picture.
Well, and are they the expert on COVID protocol?
Yeah.
Because it's gray. It's not a black and white statement. I can call the White House right now. Doesn't mean anyone's going to answer.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I don't
I
speak
called
to
the White
the
House.
janitor. But, okay, I called. But anyway, he shut you down immediately reading the actual COVID rules and said, I called the UIL. I do not have to make space for you. I do not have to allow you guys in the press box. So then that's when I said, that's fine. I said, you have an outlet on the north side of the field. You have an outlet on the south side of the field. We can do it from the field and then stay away from all of your people, because they were treating us like we were Typhoid Mary or something.
Yeah.
And then he looked at me and said, my field, and I'm not allowing you or your broadcast team on my field, which it is his field. I'm not arguing that.
Well, technically, it's not his.
Well, but he's superintendent, so
Right.
he's treating it as it's his field. So then it really started getting interesting.
It escalated.
It did, because he came with the intention of escalating it. There
Yeah.
was no de-escalation. It was escalation. And then that's when you said, again, sir, not to be disrespectful, but can you tell me how that these rules do not apply to this situation and how you can keep us from broadcasting? And then that's when it went into the red, because he looked at me and you
Yes.
and said, are you calling me a liar?
Well, yes, because I questioned him. I said, are you really making every opportunity to accommodate us? And that's when he said, are you calling me a liar? And I said, well, no, sir. I never once said you were a liar.
But I'm an old man.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not calling him a liar. Like I just said, he may have called the UIL. But it's been my lifetime of experience and my age. And maybe some of you experience the same thing. Maybe some of you experience something different. I'm not saying he flat out, blatantly lied. I'm saying he may have left some details out. And when you jump to in a negotiation or an argument and your immediate response is, are you calling me a liar?
Survey says.
What do y'all think out there listening if you're talking to someone and the first thing he jumps to is, are you calling me a liar? What does that make you think about the statements you've been told prior? It doesn't help the situation.
No, and so needless to say, at that point with the power trip, I was getting upset, and thankfully I believe he was getting ready to boot me from the facility.
He suggested it twice.
And you thankfully intervened and
Well,
said, hey, go away.
Back to someone was going to pay for the indiscretion of questioning his authority. He had decided that it was going to be you. And so he did say, do you want me to remove you? And you said, sir, I'm just trying to solve a problem here. And it didn't work. So,
Well, and long story short,
I like how you try to force me to wrap it up.
Well, we're 10 minutes in on it.
I think this would be the most interesting of anything that anyone's listening to.
I think that the intention was, without any kickback, is we weren't going to have a broadcast.
That was the plan. And then finally, I do think you finally got through to the guy, and he thought, am I really confident in whoever I, air quote, spoke to at the UIL? So maybe I should make every effort, or an effort.
So they gave us a card table.
We were given a card table that you wouldn't put your kids on at Thanksgiving.
And three
We
chairs.
were given 3 chairs. They opened the door to the press box, threw out an extension cord, and closed it and said good luck. And we were broadcasting from a stairwell or a landing where you go into the press box.
A 4-foot by 4-foot square.
Yes.
For my dad, all of our equipment, and John and Ryan.
And what upset me more than anything is the insult to the Pilot Point community that guy did by doing that. They limited their 10 deep bleachers to 200 and was it 275 fans that could make
it wasn't
the trip.
much.
We have 1,900 people that view our webcasts, and he basically killed it.
Yeah.
He said it's not going to happen, and we had to fight tooth and nail and risk being asked to leave the entire facility to get the chance to run the audio. And then, sadly, the Pilot Point fans suffered through a first quarter of poor audio because we didn't have the opportunity to test the audio because we're fighting tooth and nail to get the opportunity to broadcast it to begin with.
Yeah, well, for sure. And, we, as always, we're very cognizant of what happens technically. We knew there was a problem, and we were trying like crazy to fix it. And I'm glad we were able to get it fixed once we were able to finally get in a groove. And for those of you who don't know, which you probably wouldn't because you aren't at the stadium, is at a home broadcast we get there at about 5 to start, and that's with setup at 10:30 in the morning and 8 in the morning. We already have everything set up, so everything's smooth. We've already done a dry run and everything's good. On an away game, we try to get there between 5 and 5:30 and get set up and test the audio. And we were severely limited because when they finally got y'all a spot, it was almost 6:45, 7 o'clock. And so we couldn't do our proper preparations to pull off. It's not like it's rocket science, but it's pretty intricate setup. And so, we do thank the people that did listen, the people that, kind of pushed through the first quarter with us while dealing with the echo until we got it figured out.
Yeah.
And
we just wanted you to know this whole story because it's not. We didn't have video because we weren't provided internet access, which they're not required to do.
No.
But we left thinking that was going to be the case. So we were broadcasting from cell phones, and we made it happen. But we just want to know there's a bigger story than just us showing up at 7 o'clock, plugging in, and hoping that it works.
Well, and it doesn't help when the superintendent's being a jackwagon trying to be difficult.
Well, and now we'll close it out, although I could still go on. Paradise people were great. The lady at the concession that we talked about, the Otis Spunkmeyer peanut butter cookies, awesome. The guys on our sidelines with the chain gang, very friendly.
Great.
The ladies at the ticket thing as I was walking out going and get the equipment, great.
Yeah. I talked to 2 of the paramedics coming out of halftime. They were talking about why my fingers are taped. I talked about them with signaling and light, and that it's hard to see. And they were like, "Oh man, that's I never thought about that." Blah blah blah. Great guys.
Everyone I ran into in Paradise was awesome. So, strictly my opinion, I'm not connected to any school. I'm just a fan. The city of Paradise deserves better and a more hospitable superintendent than they have right now. That's my opinion.
Well, just the way you treat other people, that's what your reputation's based off of if you're hosting an event.
That's how people judge your community.
And I can understand if there were some difficulties in hosting us, and I could have accepted if he'd have said, "Hey man, we're really worried about this COVID stuff, and so we don't want y'all in the press box.
Use the 2 outlets there on the end zones.
We'll help you however we can help you, but we're not going to let you in." Because at least it's honest and it's up front and it's not disguised behind power.
Yes. We don't have room for you in our 360 square foot 2-story, which makes 720 square foot press box. We don't have room for you guys.
No.
And if you don't want us on the field, I would have understood that too, because it is his field because he's superintendent. But for those of you that didn't get to see our webcast because you were denied the opportunity, their band was on the field. The guys that set up the blowhorns and all of that were on the field. It was not a COVID lockdown temperature check. We're limiting the number of people on the field like Prosper did or Fort Worth Castleberry did. It was a very selective enforcement, pretty much orange shirt enforcement.
Well, I agree with
what
that.
It was. So there you go. There's the story before the game even kicked off. Let's hear a couple of words from our sponsors and then get back to the really important and fun stuff, the game.
Bearcat fans, one thing that I love about walking into the field house is looking at all the old pictures that you have from years past and being able to relive the history of those great teams and great players. And I love walking through with my sons and showing them a picture and saying, "Man, look at that guy," and telling them a story about a great play. And you can have the same opportunity to do that with your family by using Ashley Marsh Photography to capture your family's great memories. Seeing those pictures of your family will allow you to talk to your kids or your grandkids and tell great stories about things that you've done done or things that you've seen or just funny memories that you might have. So if you ever want to document your family's history, please contact Ashley Marsh Photography. You can find her on Facebook, on Instagram using Ashley Marsh Photography, as well as her website, ashleymarshphotography.com.
Located in Pilot Point, Texas, the Chandler family has been making custom cabinets for over 40 years. As a team, Chandler Cabinets is committed to designing and building the perfect cabinets for you. They will make the process comfortable and stress-free by personally guaranteeing a superior product built on the standard of superior craftsmanship and immaculate customer satisfaction. From concept to completion, perfect form and function. Chandler Cabinets is an award-winning company with a reputation for consistent innovation at the highest level of design. You can find more information on Chandler Cabinets at chandlercabinets.net or on their Facebook page, Chandler Cabinets. Chandler Cabinets, 40 years of excellence.
All right, so now we're back from a break, and let's we're going to have to try to speed it up a little bit.
Well, we're going to speed it up because the previous 18 minutes that we discussed, we don't have the first, I believe, 3 touchdowns to play replays on.
Okay, well, there you go. All right, so obviously we know the final score was, 44-21?
It was 44-21.
I got it right for once.
You did. Well, we promised the listeners last week that we would do a better job at delivering the score.
And so 44-21 moves the Bearcats to 3-0 in district. Magic numbers kind of 4 wins is what we're looking at. Not going to be satisfied with it, but another step in a positive direction towards the march to the playoffs. So let's get started with our first score.
We're actually going to start with Paradise's first score. It's the first 2 touchdowns that we were missed out on, but let's cover what they were at least. The first one was a pick 6.
Okay, and that was by Edwin. On your sheet, you have interception number 19. It's interception number 10.
It is number 19 as in the clip as far as the stop cheating reading off my notes.
No, it was Edwin. It was a great play by Edwin. Edwin is getting a whole lot of playing time at strong safety due to the injury problems that we're having. And so he pleasantly surprised us by being in the right spot, picking off that pass, and then hooking it down the left sideline and getting in the end zone. I do believe that would be Edwin Rodriguez's first touchdown for the Bearcats, first touchdown in his career. At a really good time for it to happen because both offenses up to this point were fairly stagnant. And so it kind of got everybody off dead center, got us all really excited. And, great play by a great kid. A kid who's worked himself into being a functional football player and proved it right there. Very proud of Edwin.
He did a good job. I just jumped it and was untouched.
Yeah, no, he caught it in stride, and he was off to the races, and he's a fast kid. And then also good luck to Edwin with cross country. He's one of our cross country kids, does a fantastic job for Coach Price in that program. So it's nice to see him having success in 2 places.
Back to that multi-sport athletes you discussed last
week. Yeah, absolutely. And he's a track runner as well. Now, that puts us 7-up.
It does.
And score number 2 is a field goal by Joel Gainzar.
Yes, sir. And we don't have that one either, but that made it 10-0. I think it was a 37-yard field goal. It
was, and it was barely a 37-yard field goal, but all that counts is that it was good. I think it went 37 yards and 1 inch. But that's okay because, he got a little correction on the sideline, and the next time he kicked a ball, he nailed it. So always nice to be able to depend on the field goal kicker, and I do believe that's his 3rd field goal in the season. I might be lying.
I remember this being the 2nd, but I'm not real versed up on
multiple
kicker stats.
He has multiple field goals on the year, and they're from distance, and so that's good. They're not all just chip shots.
Every time I get something in front of me and ready to go, then you ask me a different question that I don't have the answer to.
Oh, boy. You need to read my mind.
I know, or maybe we should communicate better before we do this.
No,
you always like it cold. So
I do. It's more fun that way.
It's kind of like a meatloaf sandwich. It's better that way, huh?
I've never had a meatloaf sandwich.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you do with leftovers of meatloaf? Do you not like meatloaf?
I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
Wow. Okay. Anyway.
You don't like the meatloaf reference? All right. So.
Wow. For those of you that are still left, he's kicked 4 field goals this year. So, wow, he snuck 2 by us that we didn't even see.
I said 3, so he only snuck 1 by me. All right, well, that made it 10-0, and then we go back, and it is 10-7 Paradise. They score a touchdown, make the extra point.
That's correct. It was a 1 yard push. I mean, they got it together after
Well,
that,
yeah,
drove down the field.
Yeah, they just drove down the field. They put a good drive together, and it paid off for them. We were struggling coming downfield or downhill at that point. They had some gaping holes on the outside thanks to those defensive ends that were struggling at times, and then linebackers were a little slow on the field at times. They made it off. They hit pay dirt.
Valentine back in at quarterback. Valentine takes a snap. It's a simple quarterback dive to the left. No question about that.
What was the struggle? I mean, I know you talked in the scouting report about how assignment football, and so I'm not questioning that you coached them up, but what was fooling them, or what's the? Well,
they make an adjustment in probably their third offensive drive, which I do believe is the one that they scored on, to where they started blocking one of their 3 running plays, which is going to be the sweep that the guy goes in motion, quarterback gives it, and they would kind of just take the defensive end where he wanted to go. If he fought hard inside, they would reach him, and they would kind of log him and get more of an outside crease. If the defensive end flew upfield, they'd just ride his inside shoulder and push him out, and then they would just run underneath him. And so it was a situation where the defensive end almost couldn't be right, and then there were other situations where we were right and we just didn't make the play. I know that there was a lot of calls for holding and whatnot from the stands because that's the way it looked and that's the way it appeared. But whenever that offensive lineman has his hands inside and you don't see the jersey, just ripping off the kid's body, you can't really call holding on it. And I thought those officials did a pretty good job all night. And that
means a lot coming from you.
It's a big compliment coming from me. I didn't even fuss at them one time, I don't think. No, I did about something. It was holding they didn't call. But no, they made an adjustment, and we just had to adjust to it, and we did. So 10-7.
10-7, and then my favorite play of the game.
We're going to go hurry, and we're going to hand the ball to Ish Harris, who just absolutely levels the safety.
An Ish touchdown that him and the safety got together.
They did. Ish kind of took him to the woodshed.
He did, and Tad Travis, one of our super fans and critics, he posted on his Facebook page, took a lesson from Ricky.
That was a very Ricky play.
It was.
I saw Ricky do that to multiple people. And so it was nice to see, Ish likes to wiggle. He likes to juke, and he likes to do all those things, and it was really encouraging to watch him just plow that kid straight over and then go score.
That's what I thought when you said he liked to wiggle, because the safety breaks down like, okay, this guy's fixing to make a move. I gotta get ready, and
he wasn't ready.
Didn't happen.
No. So no, it was an impressive run by Ish and an impressive night overall for Ish. You have the stats in front of you. Give us Ish's rushing statistics.
Ish's rushing statistics. That's almost a tongue twister.
It is.
It would be 20 carries. 227 yards with an average of 11.4 yards a carry.
That's about 11 yards a carry.
A long of 86 yards.
Yeah. Ish, maybe you should have run those 300s a little bit harder all summer.
We're getting to the long run?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I want to go back to this play right quick. The line, who we had some backups playing, did a fantastic job. The only person that touched Ish in this play that was wearing a black jersey was the guy that Ish.
The free safety.
Ish touched him. I don't want to say that.
Ish did initiate the contact.
Yes.
That's for sure.
And if Ish wanted to do a spin move or a cut, he could have made it to the end zone without anyone touching him. But that says a lot for the line, and especially with backups in there.
Oh, and they did a great job all night. Of course there were mistakes, and we could do that all we wanted to, but they did a fantastic job. Yeah,
and then moving on, we got our first pick of the game, and that was to close out the first half, which was an important interception because...
Would it be the second interception because Edwin scored on the first one?
My apologies.
It's okay.
The backfield, number 9 and number 11. Snap, roll out left, it is a pass. Looking at the end zone. Picked off by Ish Harris.
That was a big interception. There was 6 seconds left in the first half. And
and they were threatening. And at that point, being 17-7, if we stay 17-7 going in the locker room, you feel good. It's a 2-score game. We know they're going to get the ball back, so that's why it's we need it to stay a 2-score game, so that even if they have success coming out on that first half or the first drive of the second half, they can't take the lead. Well, all of a sudden they get down there and they're threatening, as time's winding down. And so as a coach, you're sitting there and of course you want the stop, but you want the stop because if we go in 17-14 and then they come out in the first drive of the second half, they score, well, now it's 21-17 and we're down. And so that kind of throws the whole first half, into the wind.
Yeah, it goes back to what you were saying last week, how when we drove down and kicked that field goal, it's a totally different attitude when you go in.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing there. Had they got that, we go in with a different attitude, and so do they.
Yeah. Well, there's probably a lot more fussing at halftime.
And then Ish intercepted it, and he came out, got tackled on the one, and I noticed today on his Twitter he said that he forgot that he could stay in the end zone and get it put on the 20. So,
which it wouldn't have mattered anyway with no time on the clock.
Not with 6 seconds left, but
but it was a great play by Ish, and he's getting to be a ball player, man. He's making plays on both sides of the ball.
And that ended the first half. It's 17-7. And let's go to a commercial break right quick, and then we'll come back and cover the second half.
Sure.
Since 1983, the Scott Walker Insurance Agency has been covering the insurance needs of Pilot Point. Regardless of what that need may be, they have you covered, offering homeowners, auto, life, farm and ranch, and commercial. Give them a call at 940-686-2692. That's Germania Insurance, the Scott Walker Insurance Agency, located just north of the town square at 211 Scott Lane in Pilot Point, Texas. Scott Walker Insurance Agency, always there to help.
We want to wish our varsity cheerleader, Abby, a great senior year. Love Mom, Dad, and Michael.
Hi, I'm Greg Pelzel. Here at Pelzel Printing, we do custom embroidery, custom screen printing, and promotional product. You can reach Greg Pelzel at 940-453-5443. Go Bearcats.
Pelzel Barbershop and Salon and Southern Junkies has been home of the Bearcats since 1973. Whether you are looking for a classic crew cut or the perfect game day outfit, we have you covered. We carry a few fan favorite brands including Hey Dude Shoes, Judy Blue Jeans, Z Supply Clothing, and Orleans Candle Company. Come check us out on the north side of the square in downtown Paula Point or online at www.southernjunkies.com, and that is junkies with a Z. And don't forget, go Bearcats!
We're going to take a break from our show to give a word about the Nutrition Den. Ken and Angela, they offer a full line of Herbalife products. You can get a workout shake, a protein shake, meal replacement. They have energy drinks. They have a full line of products that can help you meet your health goals. Not only that, they're great people. They're fun to be around. They're fun to talk to.
Hit them up on Grubhub.
You can hit them up on Grubhub. And social media, they're active on their Facebook, which is the Nutrition Den, and there's even a check-in special to go along with their daily specials that they have almost every day of the week. So thank you, Ken and Angela. Thank you, Bearcat Nutrition Den. Now back to the show.
There is no better source for local news than the Pilot Point Post-Signal. Pilot Point Post-Signal has been covering Pilot Point since 1878, providing award-winning top-notch coverage of Pilot Point and the Pilot Point Bearcats. You can start your subscription today by going to postsignal.com and signing up for their special, which is 2 months free of the digital and print copy, or you can call their phone number at 940-686-2169. The Pilot Point Post-Signal, the best source for local news.
All right, so starting off the second half, score is 17-7 coming out. We kick off to them. We immediately get a stop. We get the ball back, and then tell us what happens.
Ish scores another touchdown. That's just another great job by the line. I mean, there is no... I don't want to say I could score because I probably couldn't, but the line is making it look easy.
I wish you could, though, because then you would catch your son in career touchdowns.
Just catch him today. It might change next week. Who knows?
He's the household leader.
He likes Massey, and he likes coming down that home side. So.
Yes. No, but it was a great job by Ish, hammering it in the end zone, putting 7 more points up on the board, 24-7.
This time we're under center. Ish Harris the lone back, and he's going to take the power right up the middle. Patient running, breaks a few tackles, and they're not going to bring him down. Pelzel printing, touchdown.
And then Paradise comes back, makes it 24-14, and this is, I do believe, where number 1 caught the slant.
It is.
And
it was a heck of a play.
He split the safeties and took it to the house.
They fake play action, pass down the seam, and there's a man open, and he's got some wheels on.
Wow, he's got speed.
Davis. That was an unnecessary block there, but that's a touchdown for Bowie.
You know, we're a fast football team overall. You know, we have a bunch of kids that can run. There wasn't anybody that was going to catch number 1 that play.
No, and it made me ask the question, where has he been the whole game?
I mean, he wasn't on the radar as far as scouting reports.
Yeah.
And so I never want to be one that criticizes other coaching staffs because I don't know what they deal with on a daily basis. He might never show up to practice. You know, I don't know. But if he's doing everything right and his attendance is good and he's doing it, he needs the ball more.
That we've played them.
Yeah. Please give him the ball all the time now. And I hope he's a senior. But no, he was impressive, and like I said, he caught a pass and he split the safeties and he was gone. And so that made it 24-14, and then we come back and make it 31-14 with Aiden Cox.
As he hits it hard, he's able to get his yards gained.
Exactly.
Back under center, Dakota Davis. This is going to be a pass all the way. Going to hit Aiden Cox down the seam. Aiden Cox bounces to the left. He's going to pick up a block from Aston Kirby, and if he can get the block and a touchdown, and it is a house call.
This was a halftime adjustment that that Coach Peacock and the offensive staff made. We saw the way that they were playing a certain formation, and Kyle brought it up. We all kind of confirmed what he was already thinking. Said, yeah, man, I think that sounds awesome. And this is one of those you draw them up touchdown plays.
So this is a touchdown play.
This is a touchdown play. Whenever Coach Lane and Coach Alling and myself signaled all the signs in and we did our mime thing, it was with the intention that it had the old reservations with 6 tagged to it.
Nice.
And Dakota was under way more pressure than we thought he would be. And I thought he made a heck of a throw under pressure. And people would say, heck of a throw. It was only a 12-yard throw or a 15-yard throw.
On the stat sheet, it says 50-yard touchdown now.
But it was on target to where Aiden didn't have to do anything but catch it and do Aiden things, which is run and go score.
Yeah.
And so it was a great job by Dakota, great job by Aiden, both of those guys being coachable at halftime to make the adjustments that Coach Peacock wanted to make. And
shout out to John, who is the king of the hashtags. As he called it, it was a house call.
It was a house call.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was. It was a great play design and, more importantly, great play execution.
And then the hits keep coming, or the high percentage touchdown plays.
Yeah.
Avery.
Avery. And this was another touchdown play. Because while we were talking about that same the other play to Aiden, we had another adjustment that we were going to make off of that play call, and it couldn't have worked out any better. And so, again, that was just another one of those touchdown plays. Now this one, Dakota, he put the ball on the money. I thought he was going to miss Avery at first, but Avery made the play and got in the end zone.
Snap,
got it off.
For it. It's going to be a pass play. Dakota Davis
airs
it down the seam. He has a man caught. Touchdown.
Well, and it goes back again. We talked to Avery last week, and his speed and athletic ability. He's behind everybody. The only thing that would have kept him from scoring a touchdown is not catching the ball, or Dakota not getting it to him.
And thankfully, everybody did their job, and it was awesome. And so, Avery scores, makes it 37-14, and I'm trying to think. They score next.
They do.
All right, and so just a little insight. As a district executive committee with all this COVID stuff going on, we're worried about the playoff picture.
Yeah.
Okay, and if games are to get canceled or things like this, how are we going to determine tiebreakers? So if it ever came up to a tie, you can either have a maximum, it's your point differential. So if you win, it's points for. If you lose, it's points against, and that's a cumulative number that grows or lessens each week. So the maximum you can get is plus 20. Okay, so at 37-14, we're good. we're plus 23. We've covered the point differential spread. Okay? When they score and make it, I think it got to 37-21.
It did not.
It did not.
Now,
No, because Jay picked that pass off.
That's what I was going to say.
were-
We're leaving out Jay's interception.
We were worried about it because they were kind of driving on us a little bit.
Maybe another pass to the left side, right in the slot, intercepted, and Jay Cox is going to take this to the house.
Sniffing end zone.
Remember?
Well, the quarterback's got
an
an angle on him.
A little presumptuous on my part.
We had discussions about, hey, this next offensive drive, it is a scoring drive. We need to get back above that 20-point threshold.
There are really no garbage TDs until after 20 points.
Yeah.
It all
Like
matters.
when we got up 44-17, I'm not going to say we relaxed because we didn't publicly relax. We didn't tell our kids we relaxed.
Yeah, but you guys were rolling in people that hadn't seen a lot of playing time, though.
Well, and that's because we knew that after we scored and went
That's
up
what I'm getting at,
44-17, we had points to give.
Yeah, I was painting the whole picture.
Yeah.
People can understand that moving forward if we ever get in a situation where we're that way again. Hopefully every week, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, you have to take advantage of it the times that you can.
Because someone had to, sitting in that stadium, or had we had the opportunity to videocast, some of the 2,000 people that watch our cast may have said, why are they passing this late in the game?
Yeah, and it's because it's not a disrespect thing. It's not a we're trying to run it up on Paradise thing. It's that 20 points becomes really important. And, if you look at the whole playoff picture, right now, I think there's 3 undefeateds in district. I do believe. I think it's
so.
us, Boyd, and Brock.
Yes.
Well, we're 3-0 at plus 60. Brock is 3-0 at plus 60. Boyd only beat Ponder 14-0.
So that's a huge...
So now they're 3-0 plus 54.
That's a huge game, even though you don't... It becomes important.
Points become important.
Yes.
Up to 20.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's really up to 28. Because if you... say a team scores, they go for 2, and they put you down to plus 19 instead of plus 20. I mean, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's a potential problem. And so you have to think about the big picture whenever, you're getting at the end of games. And then also, if you're down by 20, and people are like, why are they throwing the ball like crazy trying to score down by 20? We can't come back and win. No, but we can get 7 points back or 3 points back or anything to make it, instead of taking a minus 20, we're taking a minus 14 or a minus 17, because in the event of a tie, every point matters.
So is someone running a calculator during the game? I mean, does someone have a conscious idea of what's going on?
You're always conscious of plus 20.
Okay.
In that situation. You're trying to maximize your offensive points and your defensive stops to ensure that we go plus 20 if we're able to.
Well, then that blows my theory on Paradise during this game, because I felt like Paradise, and I know we can't get in the mind of their coach,
sure,
but they started running in different personnel in the second half, swapping quarterbacks, and it almost looked to me like they said, we're not going to win this game. The health of our kids is the most important thing moving forward, because we still have playoff hopes. Let's cycle some other guys in. I guess that wouldn't be the case if you're concerned about the 20 points then.
No, unless, like you said, if they were starting to get banged up and some of their key personnel was, really, really banged up, then you don't mortgage the future for 6 points against us, because it could cost you a win against Bowie or a win against,
And that's what I was thinking was happening.
Yeah. But no, so that's why there is a game within a side game with positive points, because that is the first tiebreak outside of head-to-head record. But in the event of COVID cancellations, head-to-head record gets thrown out, because not everybody has head-to-head. If I haven't played Boyd and Brock has played Boyd, then that's not a fair comparison, which means we go to positive points. So it's kind of a game within a game.
So points matter.
Points to every point matters.
Following that, then
Sure.
Ish punched it in.
Dakota David handoff to Ish Harris.
Great job by the line again. And then after that, that's when Paradise got that last touchdown.
Trey Valentine, quarterback power, no room up the middle.
Nice job by the defense.
Well,
Nope, gave it to him. Oh, it was a late call, wasn't it?
Well, it didn't look like he earned it.
Yeah.
They got it from here, but what do I know?
You know, but at that point we were plus 30. We were rolling a bunch of kids in, trying to get. There's no substitute for live reps, and so we were trying to get some kids in to get some live reps. You know, at that point it becomes developmental football. When you look back at this game, everybody did their job for the most part. We played really well on both sides of the ball for the most part. And it was encouraging to finally get a win, and it's like, man, we won. Not, holy monkey, when are we going to, really start playing the way that we're supposed to play? So I think it was good. It was good for the kids. Like I said, we were down multiple starters. Anytime you're down multiple starters and you win by 23 points, that's a good thing. And Paradise is a good football team. They were, and as evidenced by number 1 running away from our kids.
Good athletes.
Number 3 was hard to tackle. Number 11 was an exceptional running quarterback. I thought number 9 threw the ball really well. And if you had a chance to see number 71 up close and personal, that's a large human being, and he was a good football player. So I'm honored to leave with a 23-point win over that team. I was worried going in, and I was pleasantly surprised coming out. And our kids rose to the occasion and did a good job. And I think that's hats off to Coach Peacock and Coach Freeze for getting both sides of the ball prepared to go to war. Now we'll see what we can do against Whitesboro.
Sounds good.
All right, and as always, we want to thank our podcast sponsors and for their generous sponsorship that makes all of this possible. And that's going to be the Nutrition Den, Chandler Cabinets, Ashley Marsh Photography, the Pilot Point Post Signal, Dana Walker with Germania Insurance, Pelzel Printing, and last but not least, Southern Junkies. Bearcat fans, make sure we support our local businesses because they support us. And as always, go Bearcats.